a constant. I know we talked about if I had a mass here and I went to Mars and I found my mass would be the same. As long as I'm going the same speed relative to the observer, yes. Faster an object goes, this mass will increase. So well, in physics, they like smashing stuff together, at least high energy physics. So since energy is conserved, how do you get, and mass is conserved, how do you get a whole bunch of particles out? If I take one proton and I smash it into another proton, how do I get a whole lot out of it other than I just start with 2 protons? Well, I get the protons up near the speed of light. And as I do that, its mass increases. And so now I've got a lot more mass, a lot more energy, and then I smash them together and I can get a whole shower of particles out of 2 protons. So rest energy is the energy an object has just by having mass. This equation right here, without the little 0 right there, is the total energy. We'll just stick with that. The total energy an object has based upon how fast it's going. In physics, unless you start getting into 30 million meters a second or higher, you don't need to worry about the change in the mass.
So like when you were multiplying, why didn't you multiply 40 to 10 to the 16?
Wait, where were you?
I'm just at the one. You know how it was 40 times 9 times.
Right.
Why didn't 40 get multiplied to 10 to the 16, like the next part?
What, 16?
Yeah.
Oh, you distribute only if I had a plus or minus sign, I'd have to multiply 40 times both. But with multiplication here, remember the parentheses also means multiplication. So in essence, this is the same as 40 times 9 times 10 to the 16.
I don't know the multiplication. I got it though.
Okay.
So what was the units?
What did I find? What did you find?
You found rest energy, right?
Okay, so what are the units of energy? Somebody said it?
Oh, they're joules.
Ultimately, it's a kilogram times meter per second squared, or meter squared over second squared.
So that's E sub R, correct?
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was an R.
Yes, that is an R.
Me too.
And the one above it is when it's moving, when it has speed to it. That's the equation for it.
Yeah, this mass right here has a speed part to its formula.
It's actually in our last one.
But can we just ignore it?
Yeah, for 110.
It's in the college on the chapter. I just saw it.
There are some semesters, it depends on what I skip and what I include. There's some semesters where I touch on it in a little bit more detail, but that's not going to happen this semester.
It's pretty straightforward, but it's man pushes on a box with 50 before the box is 10 meters. And I found the amount of work
Are you in promo?
that will be done. And so I'm thinking the maximum would be 5.5 joules.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
would be zero.
I guess there are 2 ways of actually looking at part B. I would accept 0, but it's also negative 500 would also work. So if the box is coming towards him and he's trying to stop it, and he's still getting pushed back 10 meters, but still pushing on the box in that direction,
Okay, yeah,
the negative 500 means he's taking 500 joules of energy out of the box.
yeah, okay.
If he's pushing in the direction that it's moving, which was your answer for part A, he's putting energy into the box.
Okay, so the box, when the work is being done, the box can do work on the man as well?
I hope so.
Okay.
They're doing work on it, because Newton's third law, that they apply equal magnitude of force on each other. That's ultimately the sorry, never mind, we'll stop it there.
So A and B are the same as in, the most you can apply is also the least you can apply?
No, even though work is not a vector, it is a scalar, there is a difference between positive and negative work. So doing positive 500 joules of work and doing negative 500 joules of work, two different effects on an object.
Okay, so the least and the most are both 500?
If you're going that route, again, I would accept two answers. You could go with, he does no work on it. And you could go with, said no work, let's nitpick there, 0 joules of work on it, or does negative 500 joules of work.
Because you would be taken away, right?
Say it again?
You would be taken away?
Energy out of it.
Yeah.
So if the box is coming at him coming at him, he takes 500 joules out of its kinetic energy. He slows it down.
So the most he could do would be 500?
That's if he's pushing it in the direction it's moving.
So he'd be doing 500 on it if he's pushing it in the direction it's moving, but if he's pushing it in the opposite direction, he'd be doing negative 500 because he's counteracting the motion?
Right. Because displacement and the force that he's applying are in opposite directions. It's one of those magic things about a dot product. If they're in the same direction, you get positive. In opposite directions, you get a negative. And if they're perpendicular, you get 0. Other questions?
I have one on math.
Okay.
Just 1 and 2. What momentum blatantly not conserved in any step? I put 14 where they were just at rest after the collision. I don't know if that's right.
Which one are you looking at?
These two.
All right, so when conducting that experiment, I've seen a variety of things, and the first one is just supposed to address that. It usually comes from the track is not level. But if I take the two objects of equal mass, let's go with a perfectly inelastic collision. If they have equal mass, and it should have been close, equal mass, they go towards each other at the same speed, they should hit and stop. Because whatever, this has some mass and a velocity in that direction, this has the same mass and velocity in that direction. If they have the same speed but opposite directions, their momentums, whatever this one is, this is the negative of it. So the total momentum is 0, they hit, they should stop. I have seen it where students have attempted to do that, and they'll hit and then start rolling one way or the other. That's in a situation where momentum is not conserved.
Well, that's when you add the load mass.
Well, without the load mass, I've seen it done where it starts moving.
Really?
And part of that is that the track is not level enough,
Okay.
and so, if I just put the cart on it, it's going to roll by itself. So that was at least trying to get students to think about, all right, was there a situation here that just did not work the way I was expecting it to?
To work the way I didn't think it would. I don't even know.
The way physics would think it should have worked.
Okay.
And I did throw the word blatantly in there. I know you weren't taking measurements and doing calculations on it,
Yeah.
but
Just based off of like segment.
yes. And the second one was the hoping that actually some of it worked. So that last question there where I'm asking for specific examples, you don't have to list every single trial that you did. You can cherry pick and just go, oh, well, from B1 procedure, I don't remember what the number range was there, but number 8 worked perfectly.
So the way it should have, basically.
Yeah.
That's what 2 is?
That's what the second question is, hoping that you can at least cherry pick one example from each section
Okay.
and show that, yes,
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
physics works. Yay. It's the dream. just some background. The momentum labs usually are horrible. The ones with numbers, the ones where you actually do the calculations. And I have made many attempts to try to come up with a conservation of momentum where you're actually doing precision measurements that will actually work. The experiments have gotten more and more complicated. Ms. Sasson looks at my momentum experiment and said, no, not doing that. But it's the momentum experiments that, where I'm going, why does anyone believe anything in physics? Because they just so traditionally horrible. So. They don't work because there's a lot of things that we're not taking into account, like friction. Other questions right now?
How is the rest of this class looking?
All right,
He was waiting on
we should talk about that.
I'm sorry, I'm just curious.
So we've got 3 weeks left? 4? There's the calendar. All right, so I guess March 2nd is the last time. We got cool. Today's January still, right?
It is February.
All right, so we've been doing the homework quizzes, and so one of the questions is, what are we doing about homework quizzes? We got master sets. What are we doing about master sets? Where do we see the last tests and things like that? Obviously, I posted, and an announcement was sent out. I posted the sort of a revised schedule, and any thoughts on master sets and homework quizzes?
I just think the master sets help me more than the quizzes do, or the homework from the textbook. It's nice to look at it, and I do look at it after I read to like make sure I can apply my knowledge. But coming in and taking a quiz, I don't think is very beneficial.
Okay.
But that's just my thing.
I feel like the amounts of master sets to like do in these next few weeks seems like a really large amount to do of work, because we also have to read the whole chapter that goes with it, and reading the chapters and watching the videos that accompanies it usually takes me a few hours.
Well, you'll have nothing else going on in your lives, right, other than physics?
Well, it just kind of sucks because like this is like a mini master, and like
Yeah.
if I would have known like what physics was gonna be, I would have never taken this class like as a mini master.
Oh, yeah.
No, I love this
16
class. It's
I just
like,
wish we
I
had-
No,
should have taken it.
Your choices of being able to take a full semester version of this are, I think, done. I think that's not going to happen for
They're
a
not
few
gonna
years.
do that anymore.
That's not, based on what I've been told, the last 2 full semester courses in physics are 252 and 152 this semester.
That's insane.
And then starting in the fall, every
There's
physics
no
course will
way.
be a half semester.
I just
I
feel
know
like
there's
they don't
no
want us to
way.
learn. Like if it was a full semester, we
Yeah.
would learn so
They just
much
want you
more.
to put
Whereas
everything in.
when it's like 6.5 weeks, it's just like, let me try and do my best and see if I can get through the class, rather than, hey, let's take my time and actually learn the concept.
Yeah, because
There's
it's like
so
the
much.
second I actually get it, I'm like, yes.
We're
like,
already
I
10
understand
steps ahead
Exactly.
of us.
it.
And then I'm 10 steps
I do
behind
not
you.
disagree.
But such is life.
I just feel like there's a lot more that we could learn and a lot funner things we could do if we had more time.
More fun than, more fun just because we'd have more days.
Yeah.
Physics, okay. Yeah, but
I do
Preaching to the
agree with
choir.
Daria, like a lot of times I don't even get to do the homework questions because like I'll read the chapters, I'll watch all the videos, I'll go through your PowerPoints, because your PowerPoints and your videos are really helpful, like after I'm reading, to be like, okay, I comprehend it. But a lot of times when I get to that point, I have master sets that have to get done. And then I have, like, to study for my test, I have to review old master sets. So it's just like, by that time, I don't have time for all the homework questions.
All right, so I'm gonna put out a proposal here that, you know, we're past ideal. The ideal's not gonna, yeah. Stick with the master sets, skip the homework quizzes, and the last test will be on chapters 19 through 21. I put that as a proposal. I have one head nod, a bunch of staring.
You get tested on 6, 7.
Through the master sets. That's where you'll be assessed on that, but not a test formally.
So test 3, you mean test 3 that's due on March 2nd is only over chapters 19 through 21?
That's part of the proposal.
Why do you want the test to be on those chapters?
Because it's small.
Plus, if we get that, I mean, it makes sense that we would get the rest, right?
Yeah, a number of you are going into sonography or planning to get into the sonography program. That's why I at least want to get to the waves.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of videos on the waves also. Unlike the thermodynamics section, which I moved to at the end, if we get to it, is the videos are edited class videos. And also there are traditionally in the full semester course, 6 through 10, I don't have a test specifically on that material anyway. So the last test generally is from 15 through whatever we get through. Now it's just going to be 19 through 21.
And then, we have 2 tests left, right?
Yeah.
So what's the second test on again?
That multiple choice test you took the first day?
Huh?
You know that multiple choice test you took the first day?
Yeah,
That's going to be test 2.
there's test number 2.
Yep.
Alright.
We've gone through the material. It's primarily just the stuff that you did the first test on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand back the first test day.
Today?
And
Oh, God. Like, you mean like the test our knowledge? Or our first, oh wait, never mind, I'm confused. Sorry.
It was like the pre-test we came,
yeah, it was a pretest.
that we first did.
Your turn.
That didn't matter.
That's
It was
what
just
I
to see where we were at.
Do you count that more though? Do you count that as an exam or anything?
It counts as a test. It's a test grade.
It's our test too. And when would that be?
What'd you say?
You had it originally on the 24th of February.
Yeah,
I'm
and you
still good with
changed
that.
it to the 23rd.
I changed it to the 23rd. Who's that?
Wednesday.
Yes, I expect you all to come in on Wednesday.
I don't know, that's just what it said. That's just what it was changed to.
Oh man,
I'm just, you know, if I stop making mistakes, I wonder how much time I would save. All right, it's still on the 24th. That should not have changed.
Test 2 is on the 24th.
Yeah, why don't we,
Okay.
let's write that down.
And test 3 is on the last day?
Yeah, whatever that Tuesday is, not
first.
Wednesday, is it?
It's the first.
So March
So,
1st.
All right, so 24th, this is the, we'll call the MCT for the multiple choice test. And then 1, March 1st, is that the last day of class?
yeah, that's Tuesday.
Okay.
No. Wait, on our schedules it says the 3rd, which is that Thursday. Well, my schedule says the
We
3rd.
changed it to the
Last day
1st.
is, our last day is.
Never
I think
mind.
last day was Wednesday.
Yeah, it is.
It's the second.
Okay, my schedule's wrong.
No, I've seen the third
March
too.
2nd's a Wednesday.
I think he just messed up the game.
Yeah.
You can't trust us.
No, like my actual schedule for my advisor says the 3rd.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's not what I've gotten. It's the second.
Sylvia's has.
All right, so right now I'm expecting that Tuesday,
March 1st.
the 1st, to be the last day when you take the test.
Okay.
And that test would be 2021.
Yes.
Okay. And the other test on
On
the
the 24th, that's the multiple choice test. That's not, you're not taking the full 3 hours for that one. That, most people are done in 45 minutes on that one. Those who read very carefully or go back and check all their answers take longer, but it's not
First.
a full thing.
March 1st.
And does that test include like math and stuff, or is it more conceptual things?
With the multiple choice thing?
Yeah.
That's the same one we
Yeah, it was just
at
like
the
that.
Yeah, but I don't remember because I didn't know what I was doing then.
Multiple choice.
Yeah, no calculator involved. It's all conceptual.
Okay.
And it's primarily Newton's laws and definitions of motion.
And I just want to make sure, so like, did they just decide like no more quizzes?
No more in-class quizzes. The master sets count as quiz grades.
Okay. Okay.
And when are these next few master sets gonna be due?
Hopefully I didn't screw that up on the schedule.
Okay.
6th and 7th tonight. 8 through 10 is the 17th. So Thursday of next week.
You said 8 through 10 is the 17th?
19 through 21 is due on a Wednesday.
Oh, well, it's submitted through Blackboard, so that actually could happen.
And that's the 23rd, so that's Wednesday of not next week, but the week after. And then 15 through 18 is due on the very last day of class, like when we're not even in class, so the 2nd.
15 and 18 are due after?
You know,
15 through 18 is after our test.
What?
Why is that?
You mean the day before?
you know, having to do Wednesday or having to do Thursday would make a big difference if I was caught up on all my grading and all my classes and I was ready, got nothing else to do and going, oh, right. Finally, Wednesday rolled around, I can grade some stuff. It's a struggle. It's been a struggle my entire life to be caught up on grading.
So,
A couple snow days would help.
instead of Wednesday, Thursday, so we can come and ask questions if we have any?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for those, I saw that there were, at least as of this morning, I think 2 or 3 people who had already submitted master set 6 and 7, master sets 6 and 7, and or 7. Feel free to submit another one if you want. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It could just be, you know, the problems that you're adjusting.
2. 2. Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we start talking about stuff I'm going to hand back in today's lab?
Wait, today's lab. There wasn't one.
No, right.
Okay, I was stressed out for a second.
Everyone else has a copy. What?